Hello, my name is Gina Kaczmarczak, and welcome to my electronic teacher portfolio. I decided to create an electronic portfolio to use this when I am applying for jobs. I wanted to send it out to future employers either through email or on my business card or in my cover letter, and hopefully they will take the time to stop by and check this out. I spent a lot of time on this to showcase who I am as a teacher and to showcase things that I've done that go above and beyond what other candidates that are up for a job might do. So I hope they will visit this page. I created this site using Wix, which I really liked. I've created sites in the past using Google, and it's okay, it's just not great. And I started to create this portfolio through Weebly actually, and as of September, they started charging for 5 pages or more, and I needed a lot more than 5 pages. I had started making this portfolio in October, so I had just missed the deadline. So I created this site using Wix, and it was easy to use. And I've had people who created electronic portfolios through Weebly look at this and comment that they thought they really liked it. And I had one of my colleagues mention he's going to use this to create his classroom webpage next year. I also really liked, and you can't see it through this view, but as if I was to edit it, you could see that there's a feedback tool, and it's kind of like tracking changes in Microsoft Word. I can send a link out to somebody. So, for instance, I sent it to my grammarians, and they can put comments directly onto the web page. So, what would happen, for instance, if I spelled the word portfolio wrong, if they were to add a comment, a little pink box right here would show up, and I would click on it, and it could say something like, "You spelled portfolio wrong here." Or if in my writing I forgot a comma, they could put the icon right on top of where the comma should be, and they could write, "There should be a comma between these two words." So I really liked that feature, and it was much easier, I think, than sending out a survey and asking the people reviewing for grammar what page was a mistake on, which paragraph was a mistake on, where was the mistake. They literally could just put an icon right on top of the mistake and tell me how to correct it. So this is the home page, and I have a video down here. I created this animation using Powtoon, and it usually plays music, but for the purpose of hearing my voice, I turned it off. And also when you first arrive to the site, it starts in the beginning, but since I've been here for a little bit, it is at the end. So if I was to press play, it starts over. And this animation sums up my teaching philosophy. One of the changes I had to make after people evaluated my site was each page had to stay up for a little bit longer than they had been. I had it timed to be 5 seconds each because I didn't want the video to be too long, but people commented that it was actually too fast to actually read the text. So I slowed it down and re-uploaded this video. So here on my homepage, I'm going to scroll back to the bottom here. I provide my cell phone number, and then there are links for email and for LinkedIn. One of my reviewers said they really liked how LinkedIn is right here at the bottom, so you can contact me through those means. I provide my resume, and this will take you right to my resume here. And now going back, I have an About Me page I'll go to in a minute, and this is my class website. This is the site I actually use right now with my middle school classes. You can see I teach a couple of religion class, a couple of math classes, and a social studies class. So I teach a lot of different classes, so I'm kind of looking for a job that where maybe I can just stick to my subject matter, which would be math. Here's my About Me page. And this is my one of my graphics. I decided to create a Wordle, and I kind of introduce who I am, where I am working, and talk about how my favorite topic to teach is math. And then I talk about a little bit who I am personally. I like to travel. Here's a picture of me and some girls from Michigan State. I did a study abroad program in Sydney, Australia between my sophomore and junior year. And one of my hobbies, my free time, is photography, so I talk about that a little bit. I think it shows a little bit of who I am and what my interests are outside of being a teacher. And this is actually a picture I took at Rochester Park one fall. So that's about me. Scroll back to the top. It's pretty easy to get right back to the home page. And contact, this is a way where you can type in some information here, and this gets sent right to my email account. Now to go over my portfolio, my principal actually helped me with the setup for this because our evaluation rubric is a little different than most schools. It was created by the Archdiocese of Detroit, so it isn't really used by many other schools unless I was to apply to another Catholic school. So she gave me a book she had from a master's class in teaching leadership, and we kind of came up with these main topics to put under my portfolio: managing learning, communication, growing professionally in the classroom environment, and designing learning. And that seemed to be pretty comparable to the Charlotte Danielson, which I know a lot of districts use. And I also decided to add on extracurricular. I'm going to click on that right now, actually. The point of this is because at my current job, partly because we're a smaller school, I do a lot of things above and beyond and do a lot of planning of field trips. And I wanted the future employers to see that I am willing to go above and beyond, and what other things that I've done that might not stand out very much in a resume, but are definitely a lot of work. So for example, I planned this Gettysburg field trip that we take the 8th graders on each year, and as soon as the trip is done, I am already planning for the next year. So it is a lot of work. So I highlight some picture of the kids in the field trip here. And at a previous position, I started a student newspaper. So I talked a little bit about that. I ran this newspaper for 2 years while I was at the school, and I was the only faculty advisor that ran the newspaper. The students came to me with this idea, and I pitched it to the principal, and she loved it, and I took it from there. So I'm pretty proud that this is something that I started there, and I'm actually not sure if they still do it, but in here, if you were to click this, this would be an example of one of the newspapers. So going back to my portfolio under Managing Learning, I bullet point my classroom management philosophy and showcase some of the things I've done to manage learning in the past and that I do now. Because I don't know exactly what type of jobs I'll be applying for, I included things I've used in the elementary classroom and things I've used in middle school classroom. So this flip chart here is something that probably I would use in the elementary classroom, not so much in middle school classroom. So I have this on there. Some behavior charts. This is all from my student teaching experience. And this is something I use in my middle school classroom, a rule violation ticket. It actually works really well and helps me decide conduct grades. And once the students get used to them, I actually don't even need to use these very much at all. So it seems to be very effective, and the rest of the middle school actually has started using it with me, so they must have thought it was a good idea also. Communication, I have a screenshot of my classroom website, and I also provide a link again to the classroom website. It's on the home page, but I just thought it'd be a good idea to put it right here next to where I'm talking about my classroom website. I am always emailing parents all the time. I have between 90 to 110 students each year, so most of my parents like to communicate with me through email. We don't even have phones in our room. So I talk about how my principal asked us to respond within 24 hours, and so I keep that going. And this is just a letter I wrote to the parents for an open house we had. It just is who I am, what I teach, and some of my teaching philosophy is in there, and what I do in the classroom. Under growing professionally, I have what you might find under professional development on a resume. I talk about the master's classes I'm taking through Saginaw Valley, and my master's will be in instructional technology, and I provide a link for the literature review that we wrote in the first capstone class. A couple years ago, I actually ran a professional development on math and literacy in the classroom. It was for elementary teachers, and it was all about how we can use picture books to teach math and how it can make learning fun and how to create activities through that. So I got great feedback from my colleagues and my principal on this presentation, so I wanted to showcase that. These are just a couple of workshops that I've been to, and I'm going to continue to build on this. We're taking master's classes, and right now the commute to my job is pretty far. I just really have not had a whole lot of time to do as much professional development as I would like, so I would like to try to be a little more proactive in that. I am attending a workshop at the end of May on using Google in the classroom. Google Docs is just a small part of that. So I'm going to add that on as soon as I attend that workshop, and I can explain what I've learned from that. Now I'm going to go to the classroom environment, and I decided to set this up as a slideshow with captions because I think I explain what I think the classroom environment should be like: conducive to learning, a welcoming environment, organized, a safe place, cheerful, well managed with established rules and routines. But I wanted to show pictures of my actual classroom. I've noticed when I've gone on interviews, a lot of times the principal or one of the other interviewers will say, when I walk in your classroom, what do I see? So I wanted to show that, since that's what they're going to ask anyways, probably. And I describe these pictures down here. Lastly, designing learning. I broke it up into all the subject matters that I have taught. I originally just had math on here because right now I teach middle school math, but one of my reviewers mentioned, well, will you be applying for jobs that do more than teach math? What if you do? What will you do in those classes? So I started this over from scratch and broke it down like this. So you can see that I do have math instruction here. With my lessons, I'll have at least one or two pictures with a description. And I put some lesson plan examples in there. So this is my page on math. There's some foldables. Pie Day, which is the student's favorite day of the year because they get to eat pie, and then they know there's not going to be any homework because we just do fun activities all day. And this is my video. If you visit my website, it's a student that's giving a speech about what pie is, and the background music is the national anthem. And we recorded this about 5 times before he could actually get through it. It was a really fun day. I had another student actually create a rap about pie, but the video just didn't turn out great. Otherwise, I would have loved to include it. If you go back, whoops, I wanted to go back down to the bottom. Go to the bottom of the page. If you hit back, this takes you to the subjects again, so you don't have to scroll all the way back up and go to portfolio and designing learning. I wanted to avoid that. So if you click each one, here's some things I've done in social studies. This is the field trip that we've gone on. This is a PowerPoint presentation I've given. Some pictures around the classroom, pictures of student work, and description of activities. I'll just briefly take you to the last ones. Language arts, this was during my internship year. I taught first grade, so I did a lot of reading and writing, so I showcased some student work here. Student work is something I actually want to add on to more under math. When I get work, I just grade it and give it back the next day or two, and I never think to take pictures of things, so I'm going to be working on that. So this is my language arts. And let me scroll to the bottom so I can get back to the other subjects. Here we have science. I wanted to showcase a lesson where I've had students work in collaborative groups and how I assign them different jobs. And lastly, since I'm at a Catholic school, I do teach religion, so I talk a little bit about that just because I may be applying for other Catholic schools, and I think it's just good for an employer to see even if I'm not going to be teaching religion at their school. So back to the home page. And that is my electronic portfolio. Thank you for watching.